strange sound and then come over to this side.
Hear ye, hear ye. This special session of the Nassau County Supreme Court is called to order for the express purpose of the judicial induction of the Honorable Norman A. Sammut, Judge of the District Court, County of Nassau, State of New York. The Honorable Geoffrey N. Prime, Judge of the District Court, County of Nassau, State of New York. The Honorable Arieh Schulman, Judge of the District Court, County of Nassau, State of New York. The Honorable Joseph Nocella, Judge of the District Court, County of Nassau, State of New York. Please remain standing.
Detail, pause. Left. Present, pause.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, pause. Right, face. Forward, pause.
Please draw near and give your attention. The Honorable Vito M. DiStefano, Administrative Judge of Nassau County, presiding.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vito DiStefano. I am the Administrative Judge of the Nassau County Courts. I want to welcome all of you to the Supreme Court today. Just a few people I could pick out. My vision is not so perfect. I see Keith Corbett, the mayor of the village where I live, Malvern, and I see County Executive Blakeman to my left and Chairman Joe Cairo. I apologize to everybody else. My vision does not do so well anymore. But welcome to you, and welcome to Bar Association President Rosalia Biamonte, who will be speaking in a few moments. Thanks to her, and thank you to Hector Herrera, who is recording these proceedings and also televising them. Apparently, last week we had approximately 200 people watching these proceedings online, which I'm very happy about. And we have a nice packed audience today, as we had the other day. So thank you, Hector, and thank you, Rosalia, for all that you do for the courts. I want to welcome our great judges from Nassau County. I thank all of you for being here to support our colleagues and our newest colleagues. I'm so very grateful to all of you for being here, as well as to all members of our courthouse family. To our newly elected judges, to your families and friends, welcome and congratulations on this great achievement. On my behalf and on behalf of the supervising judge of the District Court, Trish Farrell, who was unable to be here today, and of course our great Deputy Chief Administrative Judge, the Honorable Norman St. George, thank all of you for being here, and we thank all of our, as I said, our courthouse family and friends. As I said to our colleagues who were inducted last week, I know that you feel, as I do, about the significance of the oath of office that you will be taking today, paraphrasing the playwright Robert Bolt, who wrote in his great play about St. Thomas More, that when you take an oath, you take your very self into your hands, like water. And if you were to open your hands, you need and hope to find yourself again. Point being, of course, that the oath is a truly sacred matter involving a commitment of heart, mind, and soul to the performance of your judicial duties. I know without a doubt that each of you will live up to the oath that you take today. And in that solemn note, I will ask Chaplain Sergeant Barry, retired, to invoke the blessings of God on our new judges and on all of us.
Welcome, everyone. If you notice, right across the parking lot, on the county court building, on the side of the county court building, there's a large inscription that says, "Justice is God's idea and man's ideal." Well, where is this from? In the book of Exodus, we're told that Moses brought God's laws to the people of Israel when he brought them the 10 Commandments. In 1 Kings, we're told that when King Solomon prayed, he didn't pray for long life. He didn't pray for the death of his enemies. He prayed for the wisdom to be a good and just king. In our own history, many of our founding fathers expressed their belief in a God who governs the universe, a God of providence. And to sum it up, I would quote Thomas Jefferson. In the Declaration of Independence, he wrote that all men are created equal, and they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. In other words, our rights don't come from the government, they come from God. And it's the government's duty and obligation to uphold these rights. President Lincoln echoed King Solomon's sentiments when he wrote that if he were a judge, he would pray for the wisdom to never cause injustice or harm. You see, ladies and gentlemen, my faith is justice truly is God's idea and man's ideal. Folks, let us pray. Almighty God, bless this induction ceremony. Bless our judges and justices here in Nassau County. Give them a spirit of wisdom and understanding that they may always perceive the truth and administer the law as instruments of your divine will and your divine justice. We ask this in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. And as I neglected to mention, Chairman Joe Cairo, I want to welcome as well, and also former Supreme Court Justice Ken Davis, who's also back in our courthouse home today. So I would ask Rosalie Biamonte to please step up and say a few words.
Thank you, Justice DeStefano, for inviting me back to the induction, the second one. Exciting for sure. The Nassau County Bar Association is proud of its long and very vibrant history of membership and collegiality among members of the bench and the bar. From its initial founding in 1899 and continuing throughout its storied 123-year history, the attorney members and judicial members of the Nassau County Bar Association have spoken with one collective voice to uphold the integrity and value of our legal profession, to promote the ongoing education of our legal community through the many CLEs which are offered by our committees and the Nassau Academy of Law, to interact and converse at the many professional, social, and charitable events held at Domus, and to dedicate our time and efforts to improve the quality of life of children, the elderly, and others in need throughout Nassau County through the We Care Fund, which is the charitable arm of our Bar Association. There are 2 La Liberté heraldic banners that hang above the fireplace in the Great Hall at Domus. They were designed to symbolize important milestones in the development of Long Island as well as the law. Apropos to today, the banner that hangs to the right of the fireplace is dedicated to the historical development of the law. In it, there is a depiction of 3 judges and the phrase, "jus dicere," which loosely translated means to declare the law and proclaim the rights of the litigants. This banner also includes a depiction of the goddess of justice, as well as 12 multicultural and multi-ethnic jurors, and the maxim, seek only the truth. 35 years ago, the Nassau County Bar Association president, Stephen Gassman, started a tradition whereby each newly elected judge who is a member of our association is bestowed a gift of a judicial robe by the Nassau County Bar Association, so that each jurist would never forget that he or she is first and foremost an attorney and a member of our expanding family of legal brethren. That tradition continues today. I am proud to share that this year, the Bar Association has gifted 9 robes to newly elected judges of the various courts. On behalf of the Nassau County Bar Association and our proud membership, I wish to extend the association's enthusiastic congratulations to the Honorable Norman A. Sammut, Judge of the District Court, the Honorable Geoffrey N. Prime, Judge of the District Court, the Honorable Arieh Schulman, Judge of the District Court, and the Honorable Joseph Nocella, Judge of the District Court. As is depicted in our heraldic banners, may you continue the proud legacy of the jurists who have shouldered the responsibilities inherent in your judicial robes, that is, to proclaim the rights of the litigants and seek only the truth in the pursuit of justice. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you at Domus. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for the induction of the Honorable Norman A. Sammut, I would ask Judge Ken Davis to step up and say a few words.
Good afternoon, members of the judiciary, honored guests, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen all. First, let me congratulate the newest district court judges, Judges Nocella Jr., Judge Prime, and Judge Schulman. It has been 30 years since I was sworn in as a district court judge, and the years I spent on the bench were the best and most rewarding of my professional career. I have no doubt that the new judges will find the same to be true. I am very honored to be here today to speak to you on behalf of a very good friend, Judge Norman Sammut. I had the good fortune to first meet Judge Sammut years ago when he was invited to join our weekly poker game. Several of Judge Sammut's qualities immediately stood out. He was intelligent. He was knowledgeable about a wide range of subjects. He possessed a good sense of humor and was humble. However, the quality that endeared him most to the poker players, especially the ones on fixed income, was that he was a lousy poker player. Unfortunately, for the rest of the players, he has greatly improved his poker game. Judge Sammut's first priority in life is and always will be devotion to family. And in particular, his very intelligent and talented daughter, Madeline, will be attending college this coming fall. Judge Sammut received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Fordham College, Fordham University in 1979, majoring in political science and minoring in philosophy. He graduated from Fordham Law School with an emphasis in tax law in 1982 and was admitted to the New York State Bar in 1983. Judge Sammut was born in Brooklyn and moved to Nassau County in 1984, where he has spent his entire professional career. He began working as an associate at a local law firm in Hicksville shortly after his admission to the bar and opened up his own law office in 1991 in Garden City, which continued until he was appointed to the bench in September 2022. As a practicing attorney for more than 40 years, Judge Sammut is mindful and understanding of the day-to-day stressors faced by attorneys. Judge Sammut has been active in many civic and community organizations throughout his life. including President of the Kiwanis Club of Wantua, Vice President of his Homeowners Association, President of the Wantua Chamber of Commerce, member of the Ancient Order of Hibernians, and President of the Wantua Library Board. For his extensive work on behalf of the community, he has received numerous awards. In 2009, he received the Wantua Chamber of Commerce Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2006, the Long Island Workforce Builder Award for Outstanding Achievement in School Site Activities. In 2002, the Wantua Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year Award. And in 1999, the Kiwanis International New York Division Anton J. Kaiser Fellowship Award. Judge Sammut originally thought someday he would run for political office. Fortunately for members of the bar, that did not happen. He is knowledgeable, even-tempered, understanding, and passionate about the law. He possesses all those qualities appreciated by members of the bar and necessary in order to be an outstanding member of the judiciary. Congratulations, Norman, on your ascension to the district court bench. And you, Madeline, soon to be a college freshman, a happy and healthy new year to everyone here.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge Davis. And I would ask Mr. Fred Parola to step up and Mr. Sammut, Judge Sammut, step up for your oath of office. It's up there.
It's on the podium.
It's on the podium.
No, you. Let's see if we can. Please raise your right hand. I, Norman A. Sammut,
I, Norman A. Sammut,
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
its statutes, laws, and ordinances,
its statutes, laws, and
and to
ordinances,
faithfully discharge
and to faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Judge of the District Courts of the County of Nassau
of Judge of the District Courts of the County of
to
Nassau
the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me, dear God.
So help me, dear God.
Please lower your right hand with the power vested in me. You are duly inducted.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
First of all, I'd like to thank the following people without whom I wouldn't be standing here today. Nassau County Republican County Committee Chairman Joseph Cairo, Nassau County Conservative Party Chairman Dan Donovan, Nassau County Democratic Party Chairman Jay Jacobs, my good friend and executive leader Frederick Parola, my good friend who, despite what he says, I'm a better poker player than he says, Judge Kenneth Davis, my daughter Madeline, my brother Albert. Also, a special thanks to County Executive Bruce Blakeman for an interim appointment. I thank you very much. And also thanks to all my family members and friends who are here today, members of my old office, people from my community, and family members who have come from as far away as Southern New Jersey and Orange County. You know, early on when I was preparing to make my remarks, I realized that today is really not about me. It's really all about the people in my life who have made this moment possible. And I might also add, I'm very glad I'm going first, because I wouldn't want to have to follow the act that these fine gentlemen are going to put forward. They're fine jurists, and I'm privileged to be working with them and the other judges in the district court. So I'm the son of immigrant parents. My dad came here in 1951. My mother came here in 53. They worked hard. My dad operated an elevator. My mother was a seamstress. They worked hard to earn money to buy a house and send me and my sister and my brother to Catholic school. Not a day goes by that I don't thank them for their sacrifice. So I come from a big family. My mother was one of 12 children. And every time there was a wedding, anytime there was an event, every time we had Christmas, there was a big fat Maltese event. My family comes from a small island south of Sicily by the name of Malta. My mother came here at the age of 22 with $30 in her pocket to visit her aunt and made this her home. She met my father here, and that's how everything started for my immediate family. So I want to thank the following people and let you know what they taught me and some of the lessons that I learned. So my mother, and these are people who are no longer with us, my mother taught me to be independent and to be tenacious, to think independently and never give up. My father taught me to respect authority and to do my best when serving others and to do so in a pleasant manner. I try to be upbeat all the time. I always try to enjoy what I'm doing, and I always recognize that when I'm serving other people, I do so with joy and with happiness. I thank my sister, who taught me to be, who taught me to be upbeat and optimistic in the face of extreme adversity. I thank my godparents, my Aunt Tessie, and my Uncle Joe. My Uncle Joe taught me quiet dignity and strength, and my Aunt Tessie, one day when I was 6 years old, my mother took me over to see her, and she had just bought me this cute white blazer with a badge on it, and my Aunt Tessie took one look at me and says, "This one's gonna grow up to carry a briefcase." So who knew? Then I want to talk about my Uncle Dave. So my Aunt Rita, who's my mother's sister, my mother, by the way, was one of 12 kids. So when I say a big fat Maltese wedding, I ain't kidding. That side of my family right now, if you add it all up, we're over 100 people. So I worked for my Uncle Dave when I was 15 and 16 years old. And one evening, we used to drive to work and back. And one evening we were coming home, I was 16 years old. My uncle asked me, "So what are you gonna do when you finish high school?" So I had it all planned out. What I was gonna do was I was going to get a job, go to night school and learn computers. And this is way before Bill Gates, by the way. So that's what I told him. I said, "I'm gonna go to night school, I'm gonna learn all about computers." And my uncle said, "Well, is that what you really want?" And let's face it, my mother was a seamstress, my father was an elevator operator. I thought, well, I think this is really a step up. This is really what I can do. This is practical. So I said, "No, it's not really what I want to do, but it's the practical thing to do." So he said, "Well, if you could do anything that you wanted to do, what would it be?" I said, "Oh, I'd want to be a lawyer, because I've always wanted to be a lawyer." And he said, "So why don't you do that?" I said, "Are you kidding? Do you know how much it costs to go to college and to law school? And by the way, I want you to know, my first year of college was only $2,400, okay? And back then, we didn't have the money. It doesn't make a difference how much something is. If you don't have the money, it's expensive, okay? So I said, I could never afford that. This is what he told me. He said, "If it's what you really want, you will figure out a way by hook or by crook to get exactly what you want. You'll go out and work, you'll get scholarships, and you can achieve what you want to achieve." And the very next day, I walked into my guidance counselor's office and I said, "I want to be a lawyer." And I never looked back. So those are people who are no longer with us, who really influenced my life, and to whom I could never repay the debt that I owe them. I also want to introduce my daughter, Madeline. She stood up. Stand up. My daughter Madeline is my pride and joy. And she's the best thing that ever happened to me. Next, I want to introduce my brother, Albert. Would you please stand up? So my brother Albert and I have seen some really difficult times personally, with family members and such, all around. And we've always been there for each other. We've also enjoyed really happy times. And I have to tell you something, being my brother ain't easy, okay? For one thing, this is very unusual for me, I have to tell you, because I'm feeling far more emotional than I ever really feel. I'm the kind of person, when everybody's saying, wow, isn't that great? I say, yeah, it's all right. And it can be very frustrating. And then other times when I have so many things on my mind, somebody will ask me the simplest question, I'll completely mess it up. Just last week, we were in a restaurant, and I introduced my brother as my cousin. So my brother Albert has tons of patience, but I would just want him to know that I love him very much. So in conclusion, my life experiences are the classic American dream. I love my family, I love my country. I hold both close to my heart every day. I cherish the memory of those who have passed. Being in service to one's fellow man is the highest secular calling. I will exercise my duties with honesty, compassion, and an open mind. And I will work every day to justify the faith and trust of my family, my friends, and my country.
Thank you, Judge. And now for the induction of Judge Geoffrey Prime, we have Speaker Connor Torres. Mr. Torres.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connor J. Torres. My grandma and mom are here, and I have a bunch of aunts, uncles, and cousins, and on behalf of all of them, it is my pleasure to speak about the Honorable Geoffrey Noel Prime. People tell me that I don't look a day over 9.5, but I'm 11 years old, and I've known Judge Prime my entire life. Obviously, he wasn't always a judge. Way back then, he was just the mayor of South Floral Park. I remember it well, the good old days. Back then, gas was like $3 a gallon. Video games were actual disc, not digital, and Kanye West was only just a little bit crazy. These kids today have no idea how easy they have it. Anyway, Judge Prime has always been kind, caring, loving, generous, good-looking, and my family and I could not be prouder of him. In addition to being a great lawyer and person, Judge Prime is my uncle, and he is a great one at that. I also have to give credit to my Uncle Geoffrey for being a great speechwriter, because he wrote most of this speech. And I believe every word of it. I promise you that it has nothing to do with the great Christmas and birthday gifts he gets from me every year. On a personal note, Uncle Geoffrey and I both share a love of comic books, and our favorite character is named after Optimus Prime. And in the words of Optimus Prime, there's a thin line between being a hero and being a villain. Judge Prime's memorable accomplishments throughout his life and career have definitely made him a hero of mine. I'll end with this. Judge Prime will make a great judge, because just like Optimus Prime, he knows that there will be days when we lose faith. Days when our allies turn against us. But the day will never come that we forsake ourselves and our people. Freedom is the right of all beings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Connor. And Judge Prime, you are a great speechwriter. And that's going to be hard to top. I would ask Judge Sullivan to step up, and Judge Prime for the oath of office.
Oh, you got it. I don't know how we can compete with that. Nice job. Very nice job. Please raise your right hand, put your hand on the Bible, repeat after me. I, Geoffrey N. Prime,
I, Geoffrey N. Prime,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
of Nassau County District Court Judge
of Nassau County District Court Judge
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. The first point of order is that I fully reserve the right to break up into tears at any given time. I want to thank Judge DeStefano and President Biamonte for your leadership in the county and for making this ceremony a reality. And a warm congratulations to my fellow judicial inductees. I know you will make all your families and the citizens of Nassau County very proud. And thank you to Judge David Sullivan. I've known Judge Sullivan for about 20 years. I was assigned to his courtroom when I was promoted in the district attorney's office, and he's always been a voice of wisdom and humor, and he's the first to tell me what a great job being a judge is. Thank you for your continued support. And of course, I owe a great debt of gratitude to Chairman Jacobs, Cairo, and Donovan for allowing me to run on the Democratic, Republican, and conservative lines. And while it means that I'm now ineligible for the Court of Appeals, I'm not standing here before you without their support. Also, I have to thank Tom Gary, Keith Corbett, and Jim Sherman for making my dream a reality. And of course, you've all met my nephew and best friend, Connor. I was on the phone when I asked him to introduce me, so I couldn't see his face, but you could not imagine anyone less impressed and more nonchalant. I could almost hear him shrug as he said, "Sure." Thank you, Connor. You did a wonderful job, and I could not be prouder of you. You don't get to a position like this without 1,000 people helping you. And I want to make sure that I thank as many of you as possible without completely boring everyone to death. There's so many judges that I've appeared before, like Judge St. George, Judge Carter, Quinn, Farrell, Boutsinis, Phoenix, McDonald, Gianelli, Resigliano, McCormick, Bogle. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. There are the two district attorneys that I have worked for, the Honorable Kathleen Rice and the late Honorable Dennis Dillon, who gave me a job when he had absolutely no reason to. Point of order. And of course, the many lifelong friends that I've made, some of which I've known for over 40 years, from a kindergarten student at Stewart Manor Elementary to Albert T. Stanford Junior High to Sewanaka High School, and I know many of them are present here. And of course, my South Floral Park and Elmont family and friends, AKA my crew. College friends, law school friends, district attorney and legal community friends, you've all been a part of this journey with me and have been a huge source of encouragement. But of course, it all starts with family. And boy, do I have a ton of family. I have aunts and uncles here, traveling from New Jersey and from an obscure little place called Brooklyn, New York. They've seen my journey. I have cousins here who have been with me for as long as I can remember. My father, Aubrey, my stepmother, Pat, they have always been there for me. I've already mentioned my nephew, Connor, but I haven't yet mentioned his mother, my sister, Portia. I've said it before, but it's worth repeating. Portia is my rock, and hands down the most supportive person you could ever encounter, and I literally trust my life with her. Thank you, Portia. And now I have to introduce you all to the one that started it all, my mother, Monica. I know you'll see this sweet, caring, meek woman sitting there, who wants nothing more than to spend time with her grandson or in our ancestral home in Carriacou, Grenada. But don't be fooled. I dare any of you to underestimate her. That sweet woman did not exist when I was growing up. My mother is one of the most strong-willed, determined, and no-nonsense people I have ever met, and frankly, with me, she probably had to be. It may surprise some of you to know that I wasn't always the dashing, eloquent gentleman that I see before you today. My mother did her best to impart valuable life skills and lessons into me when I was growing up, and I didn't always listen. It took a while for them to stick, but stick they did. And I'm not standing here today before you if not for her and her guidance and her support. So Ma, I pledge to you and to everyone here to always seek justice, to be fair, understanding, open-minded, and always make you proud. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judge. And now for the induction of Judge Schulman, County Executive Bruce Blakeman will say a few words.
First of all, I'd like to say to Conatorres, I hope you're not running against me for county executive. That kid is sharp. And I also want to start off by clearing the air. Judge Schulman is Jewish, not Jew-ish. I know this because his rabbi, Joe Cairo, told me. Let me first start off by thanking our Chief Judge here in Nassau County, Vito DiStefano, for kindly allowing me to speak on behalf of Judge Schulman. I also want to congratulate Judge Sammut, Judge Prime, and Judge Nocella. Joe, I know your dad would be very proud of you if he was here today. I also want to thank our supervising judge of the district court, Judge Farrell, and of course, our chief clerk, Angela Diliberti. Thank you all for allowing us to be here today. When I come to these induction ceremonies, the one thing I'm incredibly impressed with, and it stays with me, is the warmth of each induction. Getting to know each and every one of the judges, not as a judge, not as a lawyer, but as an individual, as a person, as a member of the community, and as a loved one. So I get the opportunity here today to speak about a loved one. But before I do that, I want to thank the members of the judiciary for your hard work and your service to Nassau County, the court personnel, the clerks, the secretaries, and those who are very close to me, the court officers. Many of you know that my nephew, Tommy Juergens, was a court officer that was killed in the line of duty along with Mitchell Wallace and Harry Thompson. And I forever will remember them. And I appreciate the fact that they are honored in every courtroom in New York State with a plaque, which I go over and touch every time I'm here. So I got to meet this guy, Arieh Schulman, in the community in which I live. And the one thing that I was impressed about him, no one, not one person, ever had a bad thing to say about him. Think about it, nobody. And I was really impressed by that. And there came a time where, after all his work in the community, serving on the board of one of our local schools, Yeshiva South Shore, and serving as the chair of his congregation, the Young Israel of Woodmere, getting to know him in the community and getting to see how he conducts himself, how he comports himself. When there was an opportunity to hire him as a deputy county attorney, I took that opportunity, and I'm very fortunate that he accepted that. He became so important to my administration that in less than a year, he was elevated to my chief counsel. And he would give me advice, wisdom, opinions, that I could trust. He started off in the district attorney's office, where he had a distinguished career in Kings County. And you could tell that he had this commitment to the law. And the way that he conducted himself in my office, he was one of high integrity, honor, compassion. He had patience, something that I have not been accused of. And he was someone that we all looked up to. And I knew that I could value his judgment as my counsel. So in a short period of time, he's now been elevated to the district court. And that is a tremendous honor. To be a judge is the top of being a lawyer. You can't get any higher. I don't care whether you're a county executive, a member of Congress. To be a judge is the finest thing you can do as a lawyer, because you have power that you have to use wisely, and you have to be just, and you have to be patient, and you have to be calm, because the decisions you render change people's lives, whether it be property rights or someone's freedom. And I know that Arieh has those attributes that will make him a fine judge, because he does have all those attributes. So it gives me great honor to join with his wife, Yael, and his 3 children, Sarah, Saul, and Gabe, in installing him today as a judge of the District Court of Nassau County. Judge, will you please step forward? Okay, please repeat after me. I, Arieh Schulman,
I, Arieh Schulman,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New
the
York,
Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
my duties
my duties
as a District Court Judge
as a District Court Judge
of Nassau County
of Nassau County
and the State of New York.
and the State of New York,
And I will do so to the best of my ability, so help me God.
and I will do so to the best of my ability, so help me God.
You are duly inducted.
Judge Prime, I also reserve that right. I would like to thank the following people who I owe a great debt of gratitude to. Nassau County GOP Chairman Joseph G. Cairo, Nassau County and New York State Democratic Chairman Jay Jacobs, Conservative Party Chairman Dan Donovan, County Executive Bruce Blakeman, Chief Deputy County Executive Arthur Walsh, former Administrative Judge of Nassau County Judge Thomas Adams, Administrative Judge of Nassau County Judge Stefano, Administrative Judge of District Court Judge Tricia Farrell, my parents, my in-laws, my children, and last but certainly not least, my biggest fan and support system, my wife. Good afternoon. In Judaism, when we reach a milestone or experience something both unique and positive, we say, "Blessed is our God who brought me to this very moment." It is both an honor and a pleasure to stand here before you with a deep sense of humility for this most auspicious occasion. The power that donning a judicial robe can yield is quite incredible. As Brett Scharf observes in his article, The Role of Humility in Exercising Practical Wisdom, the black robe is intended to do something quite different. It is a reminder that we must be transformed by the oath of office. As the Bible states, justice, justice thou shalt pursue. I am now in a position where I can help individuals in their most vulnerable states by doing what is just and what is fair. I hope and pray each day that my robe serves as a reminder not only to support the judicial oath, but that I do so with humility and kindness. I must always remember that the robe is but a garb that affords me the ability to pursue justice by following the law and doing what is right. I look forward to both the opportunity and the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And now for the induction of Judge Joseph Nocella, the Honorable Joseph G. Cairo will say a few words.
Thank you, Judge. So Judge DeStefano, thank you for inviting me back this week. I was here just a week ago when my daughter Lisa Cairo was inducted, and to come back a week later, politicians often don't get invited back at all. So to let me come back a week later, I appreciate it. Judge Prime, in order to assist Bruce Blakeman, I would ask that with your permission, that Connor become the newest member of the South Floral Park Young Republicans. So, is that okay? Whatever his uncle says. So, to speak about Joseph Nocella, I must, first of all, speak about his father. His father, Joey Nocella, was a very unique person. He was a Golden Gloves champ in the early 1950s, and he was really a trailblazer because in the 1950s, he went down to Georgia Tech and earned a degree in engineering from Georgia Tech at a time when Italian Americans weren't really that welcome in the Deep South. And after he graduated, he came back to Elmont. He married, had 3 sons, Frankie, who's looking down today, Brian, who is often mistaken for Joseph's twin, not identical, but fraternal. Stand up, Brian, for a second. Brian's a fraternal twin. And so I got to know the kids when they were young. One day, Joey calls me up. He says, Joe, I want to come to the office. I want to bring Joseph with me. So he brings Joseph to the office, and he comes up, and he says, Joseph has applied for the presidential scholarship at Fordham. He's a senior at Chaminade High School. He said he had to write this paper, this essay. I'd like you to review it. I said, Joey, I was a science major in college. I took 6 credits in English. I can barely read and write. You want me to go over the paper? So I said to him, let me have the paper, and I'll keep it tonight, overnight, and I'll read it at home tonight when I have time. So they leave. I go down the hall to my partner, Anthony Morano. You got to know him as Judge Morano. I said, please read this paper and tell me what you think about it. So a few minutes later, he comes back and he says, the kid's brilliant. And that's what he is, very bright young man. He goes on to Columbia Law School, graduates. He has just a career that lawyers dream of. He's a clerk for a federal judge, U.S. Attorney's Office, criminal division, prosecutes terrorists, gets convictions, does a great job. Goes to a Wall Street law firm. They send him out to California for a few years to try a very heavy case. He comes back like any good Italian son. He follows his mother's advice, although she was Irish. He goes and she says, I got this lovely young girl I met, I think in the beauty parlor, getting her hair done. You got to meet her. He meets her. And they fall in love. He gets married. He's married to Lori, and then they have 2 children. Every time I see the judge, he spends the first 10 or 15 minutes talking about his kids. He works for this Wall Street firm. He decides to come out to Long Island, work for another law firm. Then he wants to give back, so he wants to get into government. Becomes counsel to the county executive. He's doing a fine job. And one day I'm in my friend's office. I'm in the ambassador's office, Joe Mondello, God rest his soul. I'm in his office. He says, Joe, we got this case. We need a real good attorney to handle. And I said, well, let me see. And I looked at it. I said, Joseph Nocella. He said, Joe, he's got no personality. I mean, he's a great guy. He says, he's got no sense of humor. I said, no. I said, Chairman, Ambassador, he's got a sense of humor. It just takes a while for you to get to understand them and know it. He says, well, how long? I said, about 20 years. Joseph does such a good job that the ambassador is, then the chairman of the party, is very, very impressed. And Joseph, we needed help in Oyster Bay at the time. And Joseph went on to become the Oyster Bay town attorney, and then he came to Hempstead. He's not only the chief of staff to our supervisor and our town board, but he also served as the town attorney. If you ask me to sum it up in one sentence, I would say, how would I describe him? He's going to be a great judge. He is a great judge, having been appointed, because he treats the little guy with the same dignity and respect that he treats the big shot. He's going to do a great job. I congratulate him. I congratulate Judge Prime and Sammut and Arieh Schulman and Joseph. And good luck. God bless all of you, and God bless America. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd ask Judge Nocella to please step up to the podium. Sure. Okay, please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Joseph Nocella Jr.,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully discharge the duties of the office of District Court Judge of Nassau County,
faithfully discharge the duties of the office of District Court of Nassau County.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My sons, Joseph and Louis, and my beautiful wife, Lori, whom Chairman Cairo mentioned to you. But I also want to make a mention about our family Bible. This was my grandmother's Bible. And in loving memory of my grandmother, we keep it wrapped in plastic, but this is not ordinary plastic. This is one of her many slipcovers. So that is one of the loving gestures to my grandmother. Judge DiStefano, thank you for administering the oath to me. It was, Your Honor, an honor to have you administer the oath, and I appreciate it very much. Chairman Cairo, I don't know where to begin. You've been a mentor and a friend to me since I was a child, and you've always given me excellent counsel, excellent advice, and guided my path, not just because I had no family members who were lawyers and I needed advice as to how to get admitted to law school, the bar, and what career paths to take, but also every time there was a business, a professional, or a personal issue, I knew that I could always come to you. You were always, and let me stress, always available to me, and always gave me sage advice. And for that, I thank you very much. In addition, I have to thank you, of course, for the opportunity to be a district judge. As chairman of the Nassau County Republican Committee, to have selected me, as well as thank the chairman of the Conservative Party, my friend Danny Donovan, and the chairman of the Democratic Party, Chairman Jay Jacobs. The person that I want to acknowledge foremost, and I've already mentioned, and Chairman Cairo has already mentioned, I need to state, is my wife Lori, because she has been my rock, as has been mentioned before by some of the other judges and their loved ones. She has been my chief supporter, and she's also my chief critic. And that, I think, is the proper function of a truly loving wife. My two children, of course, are just thrilled with excitement at the fact that their father is now a judge. And I am thrilled with excitement that you're here with me today to see that day. Chairman Cairo mentioned my father, and so did County Executive Blakeman. And I want to thank County Executive Blakeman for having appointed me back in July to this position in the first instance. But I also appreciate the fact that you mentioned my father, as did Chairman Cairo. When I think of my dad, and I know that wherever he is, he knows that I'm now a judge. And I think of my mother and how I told them that this was an ambition of mine. I'm reminded of a quote from Abraham Lincoln, which I will paraphrase. Everything I am or will ever be, I owe to my sainted parents. I have to also acknowledge my brother Brian. No, we don't look alike, but we do think and feel alike. And if there were only one person that I could ever have in the trench with me, it would be my brother Brian. Brian, I love you. Thank you for all that you've done for me. I have to acknowledge the responsible members of the committee that helped me during the election process, including John Ciampoli, Donald Durham, and Andrew Preston. If you believe, as I do, that you can have more than one best friend, well, I've got many best friends, and those are three of them. Thank you. There was a period of time in my life when I did work for a big corporate law firm. You heard Chairman Cairo mention that. The firm its name was White & Case, and was a very prestigious place to work. And I did enjoy working there. But at some point in the late winter, the president appointed a judge to the federal bench. And that judge needed a law clerk to begin immediately. He couldn't wait for any law students to finish to begin clerking for him at some time in September, which is tradition. I applied for the job and I was given that opportunity. And it was a phenomenal experience because I learned so much. I learned from Judge McKenna to show dignity and respect to every person who comes before me, as he did. And he led his courtroom in such a way as to always treat people with dignity. And I promised to follow that example. Judge McKenna was appointed by President Bush at about a time when he was in his late 50s. And the other two things that I learned from clerking for Judge McKenna was how much I wanted to be a trial lawyer. Because although I did work for a big prestigious law firm, I saw young prosecutors the same age, in their late 20s, and young legal aid lawyers, same age, in their late 20s, coming in, picking juries, examining witnesses, summing up in front of juries. And I thought to myself, this is what I want to do. So I applied to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I had the opportunity to become a federal prosecutor and become a trial lawyer. But the second thing that I realized I wanted when I clerked for Judge McKenna was that someday, at the right time, when the time was right for me professionally, I wanted to be a judge too. That time has now come. So in many ways, this is like a dream that has come true. It is the fulfillment of a career ambition. And I can only hope to be worthy of this particular position by repaying all those people who helped me to get here and to show the same decency, respect, and fairness and judgment to all the litigants who come before me. I pledge before you, as I pledged when Judge DiStefano administered the oath, that I will do my very best, so help me God. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Judge, and all the judges and all the speakers. Just so everybody knows that if you've been to enough inductions, you know that we started at 2, it is now 3. I get a pat in the back. With that said, thank you. I would ask Sergeant Barry, will you please give us the benediction?
The Lord bless you and keep you. His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Serve the Lord with truth and justice. Amen.
Amen.
This concludes the special session. Please remain seated as the court returns.
Judges?